Today's tutorial is inspired by a photo I've seen of Mila Kunis, and to start this look I'm going to use Cover FX foundation, and the shade I'm using is N25. I'm stippling this on using my beauty blender, which I got from M&S, and it's only £5. To use this, I've dampened it under the faucet and gave it a few seconds just to absorb the water. This makes the sponge double in size and it becomes quite supple, so it makes it easy for blending. The nice thing about using a beauty blender is you get a really nice flawless finish. It doesn't drag up any dry skin and it literally just packs the foundation on. To work that foundation in around my nose, I'm just using my Krylon 9742 brush. It's like a duo fibre. To define my cheekbones, I'm using Dermacolour in the shade, I believe it's D11, and this is out of my Dermacolour palette. I believe there's about 5 different palettes you can get for this. I've got the light and the dark, and this particular one is from the dark palette. So I'm just taking that also down the ridge of my nose on either side, and I'm also going to take that around the hairline. And as I say in every video, because I'm not sure if you're watching this for the first time or if you've seen my other videos, this gives more dimension to the face. This is obviously a softer version of what I've done in some of my other tutorials, such as my Beyonce and Kim Kardashian inspired ones. If you haven't already seen them, please do so. They're a little bit more informative about this whole contouring. To blend that in, I'm just using what's left on the beauty blender, and I'm just stippling over that just to soften the lines we've put in using the contour colour. As you can see, it just diffuses that foundation and creates a nice soft shadow effect. So continue to do this all the way around the contour areas, hollows of the cheeks, down the bridge of the nose, around the jaw and around the hairline. This particular method does take a little bit longer than it does to working with a buffing brush, but you get more of a flawless look to this. It looks more airbrushed. Next we're going to set that in place. I'm using a translucent powder by M&S. It is my go-to translucent powder for the moment. You can set the contour with a slightly darker translucent powder, that's up to you. I'm just using one colour for this. Just to diminish that powdery effect, I'm just patting over my skin. Mila Kunis has naturally quite dark brows, so I'm going to darken mine for this as it suits the eyeshadow we're going to be using. And my go-to product for brows are my Anastasia Brow Duo powders. And today I'm mixing brunette and ebony together to create this colour. As always, I'm applying this on an angle brush by Crown. I always leave the front, as this should be the lightest area, so I like to use what's left on the brush to create the very front, and I like to make the darkest part the outer third. So here you can see I'm just using the brush just to pull the colour forward, and it's created a nice soft gradient, and it's very light in comparison to the rest of the brow. And I'm just combing that through with a spoolie. Then repeat the same process on the opposite brow. As I've used a powder, I'm going to use a tinted brow gel just to enhance the little hairs that are there and make them stand out and make them a bit more visible. This just creates a little bit more dimension to the brow and makes it look more realistic. To start with the eyeshadow, I'm using Tempting by MAC, which is like a light brown. I'm taking that all over the eyelid and up to the brow bone. This is quite neutral on my skin tone, so it just works as a nice base and soaks up any moisture from the foundation. Next I'm going to be using 2 of the silver colours from my Sleek Divine palette. The eyeshadow on Mila is like a metallic grey colour, so these are ideal. To prevent any pigment fall down, I'm just tapping the brush before I apply it to my eyes, and I'm taking that colour up to the socket line. To apply this to the lid, I'm using my Blank Canvas Cosmetics E24 flat shader brush. This is perfect for laying down colours. And then to soften the seams of that, I'm using my E26 blending brush by Blank Canvas Cosmetics. Just gently swipe over the eyeshadow in little circular motions just to soften the edges. Now I've got the base down, I'm going back over it just to build up the opacity. I'm tapping off the excess and then just patting that over the top and then just blending again. I'm using the black from that same Divine palette by Sleek. I'm patting that on the outer third just to create some depth to the eyeshadow. And as we did with the grey, we're going to use the blending brush to soften the black. Repeat the same step on the other eye. I'm using the tip of the E24 flat shader just to run some of that grey underneath the bottom lashes. I'm just winging it out slightly at the outer corner just to meet up with the eyeshadow from the outer edge, and then just softening that with a clean blending brush. We're going to apply the same process as we did on the top lid. We're going to apply black just to that outer third under the lower lashes. And I'm just patting a little bit of black just on that outer top eyelid just to make sure it's seamless between the bottom and the top. The shape we're going for is slightly in between an almond and round eye. Because Mila Kunis has got big eyelids, we're going to create more of a rounded almond shape as opposed to a winged out makeup look. Along the waterline, I'm applying Krylen's Cream Eyeliner in Steak Grey, and I'm using this on a fine liner paintbrush. In the photo, Mila's got something across her waterline which resembles a grey kohl pencil, and I thought I would give this one a go. I really like how these go on, they're really smooth. To make the under eye look a bit more pristine and clean, we're going to use Cover FX Concealer in Light. I'm working that in with a small blending brush. I'm taking that right underneath the eyeshadow, and it creates more of a clean line, but you can just go in with your brush from earlier and just soften that with what's left on the brush with the eyeshadow. In the photo, Mila's definitely got a warmth to the eyeshadow at the socket line, so I'm using my Cover FX matte bronzer to do this. The brush I'm using to apply this is a base shadow brush by Real Techniques. Now it's time for mascara, so I'm giving my lashes a nice good curl. And the mascara I used here is the Max Factor Excess Volume Mascara. I like to wiggle that from root to tip, and I like to coat both sides of my lashes just to make sure there's no eyeshadow left on them. Then do your bottom lashes. I gave both top and bottom sets 2 coats of mascara. The eyelashes I've chosen to use are by Krylen, and I will have to put the number of these in the description bar because it's quite long. I'm applying these using duo glue, and I'm allowing them about 15 seconds before applying them to the lash root. This allows them to become tacky and they adhere better. To warm up the circumference of the face, I'm using a matte bronzer by MAC. Mila's got a very warm bronzed appearance in this particular photo, so we're taking that mostly across the cheekbones, as this is quite prominent on Mila, and then we'll take it around the hairline and just down the nose slightly. I'm using my Bare Minerals contour brush to apply this. To distribute the colour nice and evenly, just work in circular motions and don't apply the bristles too harsh on the face, you just want to work nice and softly. And I'm using a smaller blending brush just to do this down the nose. I'm taking a highlighter colour from my Krylen Glamour palette, and I'm going to apply that to the tops of the cheekbones, and then I'm going to use the brown shade just to add to that contour, because that particular area down the cheekbones is very prominent on this particular photo, so I want to enhance that a little bit more. You can really see the effect this has. It really draws those cheekbones in and makes your face more defined. I'm using a nude lip pencil by Krylen. This is a really old one, so the number's worn off. This is just to define the lips. In this particular photo, Mila's got very nude lips, but you can tell they've been lined with a neutral pencil. They have got something on them. It's kind of peachy, but it's still kind of nude. It's really hard to describe, so I'm just using a lip and cheek tint by Krylen. The colour is Amaryllis, and then I'm using a Krylen lip stain in the colour Latin. Again, it's quite neutral, but it just adds something to the lip with a hint of peachiness to it. So this is my Mila Kunis inspired makeup tutorial. I hope you've liked it. Please give me a thumbs up if you have, and thanks for subscribing and watching.